Sorry, you gotta go the long way. I tried to leave her space to get in and then realized that she needed me to be the frame of where we were, so I was not trying to be rude. Good morning, everybody. Glad you guys are here. If a couple that say you're normally at work and you're off today.
Totally forgot the ring light.
Oh. You know, I didn't even notice.
There we go.
Yay.
We have light.
So much better. Let there be light. I always look so much shorter than you. Of course, I always slouch. You're always very... Yeah.
You are shorter than me, though.
Your chair's taller than mine, too. Look at... Okay, maybe not. Maybe your torso
I just have a really long torso.
Longer.
She has the longer legs. I have the longer torso.
Yeah, normally we get in the car and my seat's all the way back because I have lanky legs and Cayley's like up against the steering wheel, so... Good morning.
Good morning, little Miss Nat. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, everyone's saying they finally caught a live. We've slowly been phasing them like a little bit later. Honestly, we would do them at 9, but we've just been having a lot of shipping, and sometimes even with the whole team working on it, we can't get done by 9 o'clock, which would be our goal, but sometimes we can't. Although today we had very little shipping. Like, it was a slow Monday. Normally we have like almost close to 200 packages, sometimes a little lower than that, but it was under 100 today, wasn't it? Like 90 something?
It was just about 100. Yeah. Can you imagine we're saying that we had slow shipping on 100 item day?
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked me that like
slower.
a year ago. I'd be like, you're crazy, that's insane.
Well, we don't have much of a topic today, so if you guys want to drop your questions, we can get started on those. I figured we would catch everybody up on like where we're at business-wise. Do you want to chat about that?
Business-wise?
Yeah, just what have we been up to? Where are we at?
We have had a lot of stuff going on. I think we've kind of mentioned to you guys in some of the last videos that we had some wholesalers reach out. We've also had some people essentially just like selling out their closets and deciding they didn't want to resell anymore, or had death piles and just haven't been able to get to them. There's been lots of, I guess, multiple reasons why people have reached out. So we've been spending a lot of time working through those items and just really trying to kind of get a grasp on that. If you guys saw the latest reel that Cayley put out, our office has been an absolute mess, but it's good mess because we're bringing in a lot of stuff and we're working through it pretty quickly, surprisingly.
We cleaned it up on Friday like we said we would. It's pretty clean now.
It's getting there. We have some stuff to work through still, but it's organized chaos. So, fun fact, we have a Salvation Army that's somewhat near us, and sometimes we like to leave donations for them on things that we decide we can't sell, that we purchase out of people's closets. We donated so much last week, they took their barrel away so that people can't donate. So... sorry to them, but looks like we're going to have to visit a Goodwill soon to donate some other stuff. But other than that, we are looking at eventually hiring again soon once we get both of our girls where we need to be and kind of work through some of this other chaos that's coming on. But
yeah, Little Miss Nat mentioned, if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch the life cycle of an item. We just released that video. A lot of people were asking to like, you know, we show bits and pieces of our process, but not like it start to finish all the time. So we took one item from the thrift store all the way to it actually being purchased and being packaged for one item. So we didn't show every process that we used just because it was a single item, but I thought for everybody that was asking about our process, it was a good video. So thanks for that shout out, Little Miss Nat.
I feel like a lot of people, we kind of talked about this morning, a lot of people I think were looking for bulk functions, and honestly I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about kind of trying to connect the pieces. So a lot of times we show you guys what our photo station looks like, or we show you what our listing process looks like, but we thought that it'd be helpful to kind of see the movement around the office, because sometimes I feel like you guys are here and you guys understand where things are set up and how the office is set up, but I felt like there was some disconnect. So
yeah,
we did want to do that to kind of show you guys what that looks like, and then hopefully we can do wholesale or do a bulk one soon.
Yeah, that was like she said, we talked about this morning. It was more for like people in more of a beginner stage who like wanted to know like order wise our process. The bulk video is going to be pretty complicated. Like, I'm not going to lie, some of that stuff if you don't use Excel, if you don't understand formulas, if you aren't very tech savvy, it is really complicated. So we kind of thought maybe a more advanced video later on, not smashed together, but we will be having that bulk process soon. People are really interested ever since I did the interview with Becky, and I talked about our sourcing spreadsheet. A lot of her viewers came over to my channel and they're like, can we purchase this sourcing spreadsheet? Like, how does this work? How do we upload them to eBay? And I really love this process so far.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. It's definitely streamlined. We do have issues with it occasionally, but for the most part, it's definitely cut time down a lot. We used to have our girls do it every single day, and they would hand copy and paste every single item over because we were obviously putting all those items in the spreadsheet, or they just had to do a baseline draft and then pretty much start from scratch, which just was a waste of time for us as well. This is so easy. We can upload like hundreds of items in probably a total of like 15 minutes. Just by the time we like edit the spreadsheets, move them over, and then like bulk edit so that the girls don't have to individually change like shipping dimensions or shipping policies on any of those. We just bulk edit all those and we do the majority of them in the first like I said, between 5 and 15 minutes probably. So
yeah, it's been good. Some people asked in that video, we actually no longer use batch names, but I had a ton of comments. I don't know if you saw them about why do we use batch names. So do you want to tell them why we used to use them for anyone watching?
yes, we used to use them because we originally, way back when, we had one person listing, one person photographing, and then we were obviously sourcing. So we did a batch name so that we would be able to say, okay, I'm going to just pick Elsa. So like Elsa was the batch name. We would say, okay, I've sourced X amount of items for Elsa. I know we're finished. We can move on to the next week. And then we would just go to our girls and say, you need to pick up Elsa. We would have everything labeled in like a chunk of space for Elsa. They would grab all of that and know that that was their responsibility. It also helped with our virtual lister at the time, who was able to just like go into eBay drafts and search like function Elsa and find them all and complete them all rather than having like multiple days. Now that we've kind of phased away from being virtual, we do have two in-office helpers. It's a little bit easier for them. They just each pick their own day on the spreadsheet and work through that. And then they can, based on like the creation date, we also give them symbols now so that they're able to just like search their character and then move on. But it's worked a lot better than having batch names now. But essentially we did them to kind of keep each week straight from the following week.
Yeah. I see some questions rolling in. Should we jump in?
We should. Little Miss Nat, I'm on board with her request. If you guys have questions, can you start them with question all in caps? Because that does draw my attention. Not that if you didn't, I won't find them, but if you guys find them or if you guys have new questions, please mark them that way because it does make it a little bit easier for me to find them. If you didn't, I'll still go through because I know they're towards the top, but
yes,
just a shout out. Thank you, Little Miss Nat. If an item isn't sold in 90 days, do you research prices and reprice? No, we just discount them accordingly. I think we were originally doing 10%. We're doing 5% now, just because prices were dropping very quickly.
Yeah.
So we are moving to a 5% drop each month. We do not reprice and re-research.
I like doing it that way because it takes less time to just drop prices. I mean, you figure stuff prep. We have a pretty good listing process. I will say there are some items I'm like, well, I understand why that didn't sell because we have the brand mistyped in the title or we have it in the wrong category. It's men's when it's supposed to be women's. But in general, we're pretty good about listing. So the only other issue could be pricing. So by just simply dropping pricing, usually we're able to capture that buyer that we're supposed to. So we don't feel the need to go back and re-research.
We also feel that we like put a lot of research in put a lot of effort into research from the very beginning.
That's true.
Because we want to make sure we get it right the first time. So I'm not going to say things aren't going to change after 90 days or that like brands don't come up or go down, whatever that looks like. But I feel like we put enough research into like looking up style names and really getting in the groove of it that I don't feel like it's worthwhile. Ivy, we do still do store reviews, store or closet, depending whether you have eBay or Poshmark. Those are the only two that we do currently. We have those available on Cayley's website.
We just got one the other day. It had been a while since we've done one. We're not going to post it on YouTube. By the way, you have a choice whether you want to post it on YouTube or not. But I would love soon to have one that we could post on YouTube just to help other people because it's been a while.
We have found that buying from bulk wholesalers has been worth it. I think the details as to why would be something that you would really have to decide yourself. But essentially, the wholesalers that we are starting to work through have definitely been worthwhile. We're getting things very similarly in price to what it would be if we were individually shopping for them ourselves and we don't have to spend the time or the gas to go get them ourselves. We do pay a little bit more for them, but if you take into consideration, you know, like I said, lack of traveling, lack of time, it's been beneficial for us. You would have to figure out if you could find bulk wholesalers, what their price point was, and how that fits into your current model. For us, we do find it's beneficial.
I think we should clarify too, because some people hear bulk wholesalers and they're thinking liquidation.
No.
They're thinking that we're ordering brand new products from like a liquidation wholesale pallet. That's not what we mean when we say wholesalers. The bulk wholesalers that we're buying from are pre-owned items, and they're essentially doing the same things that we do when we source, which is item by item hand selecting at thrift stores and then selling it to us for a higher price. So that when she says, you know, that's working for us, that's the type of wholesaler that we're going through.
Yeah, I've never been much of a fan, in all honesty, of... Sorry, I have to shift myself. I have this thing about sitting... Oh, I hit that rack, too. I have this thing about sitting on my leg. I don't know why. I like to do it. I don't like liquidation. Not saying y'all can't do it, but it doesn't seem to work for us. Only because it seems like everybody's getting the same items, and we have a hard time with, like, I guess, getting them up fast enough that... You kind of beat the crowd in a way. So we definitely haven't found that would be super beneficial for us. Now, I know a lot of people do it, and that's like their whole model, and it works for them. And though I've been curious, I have my curiosity partner over here telling me that it has not been worth it. So as I've kind of looked through that, I agree. We have some talking about our spreadsheet. They're excited to learn more about the Excel sheet when we do that new video.
People want to buy that spreadsheet. You guys can make your own. If you guys are good with Excel, it's really simple. We just title it like we have a page on the sheet for each day. We title it like, I don't know what's today, February 12th.
Yeah.
If we go
13th.
sourcing tomorrow, which I think Nikki is, so she'll title it February 13th. And then on that day, she'll just have columns that she titles with like title, cost of goods, price, notes. Like super simple. You guys could totally make it. We do already have a video that shows it. I think it was called like our 6 systems that we use. If you type in Cayley systems, reseller systems, you'll probably be able to see how that works in the video.
Y'all, I'm just gonna be fully honest with you. If I paid for the spreadsheet that we have, I would honestly kind of be ticked off. Like, I'm just full transparency. Like, it seems like it sounds like it's such a like groundbreaking idea, but in all honesty, if I paid money for the spreadsheet and then got it, I would be like, why did I pay for this? I literally could have done this myself. So
I think a lot of people don't use Excel.
Take time, look at the video, and then if you really think like this is still wonderful and we would pay for it, let me know. But like, in all honesty, I'd be surprised. One busy mama to you wants to know, how do you list a new item that has a manufacturer tag attached but missing the retail price tag? I have been listing as new without tags. Thanks. Girl, if it has tags, I list that with tags. I mean, I don't even care if it has buttons. No tags, but a button. I will literally still list that new with tags because it shows it hasn't been washed, in my opinion. I guess maybe that's why there's technically the new without tags, but I also feel like the reason why people want stuff, either new or new without tags, is because they know that it's a brand new item. And if you have something like the bag buttons that are still attached to them, like, I list that stuff as new. I do.
Yeah, we don't pay attention if like Zara does that a lot. Their pricing's at the bottom. They'll either take the sticker off, or they'll just cut it off the tag. But if there's a tag there, I would definitely list it new with tags. I'd probably do new without tags if it were just like a button. And I'm also kind of like, I don't know, some people are really risky, and just because an item feels really high quality and like it hasn't been washed, they list it new without tags. We don't do that. We really only do new without tags if it's got something like she said, which is, you know, it has buttons, or maybe it has a sticker on it still, something like that. But no, you can absolutely list it without the manufacturer's price on there.
Taylor wants to know, do you ever feel sick when flipping through racks at stores? I find after 2 hours of looking down, I feel so crappy. Not sure if it's just me or if there's a better way to be scanning these racks.
Do you want to go first?
Y'all, life has been a mess. So to be honest, there's lots of times where I just don't feel good in general. I don't know that I like have ever felt crummy because of like looking through the racks. To me, in my personal opinion, this sounds to me like you're physically looking at every single item, which we don't do. We just like we call it cherry picking, where we like flip through and look for either new colors for like the tabs that Goodwill has, or we like flip through and feel for like substantial items. Sometimes I'll literally just like walk down an aisle and run my hand down it and then stop when I feel something that's substantial. And a lot of times we can find some pretty good stuff like that. I don't know. I've never really said that I feel crappy, but I would say maybe look at your sourcing strategies. If you're standing there and physically flipping, like something's gotta be wrong.
Thank you so much, Little Miss Nat. She put, if anybody's interested in seeing what that sourcing spreadsheet looks like, she put the link and the timestamp to it just now. So if you guys want to go watch that, maybe bookmark it for later.
Little Miss Nat, I love you.
She's the best. I don't feel sick, but I will say one thing I have noticed, just reselling in general, and I think a lot of it does come from sourcing, is I have a lot of neck and back issues because I do think I'm looking down. Now, like she said, we're not going through every single item. I'm like walking an aisle and my head's kind of turned, and then I'll stop and look. But even that small motion, especially having, you know, we talked about it before, having like a crossbody or something pulling down on you while you're doing that motion, if you're constantly looking down, like, it's not good. And I have honestly noticed that over the last couple of years, I'm struggling with that now. I know there's some other resellers who publicly talk about it on their channel, how reselling has just really killed their back, their neck. And we've definitely, I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware, but probably up until this point where we started getting some help with sourcing, her and I were sourcing 4, sometimes 5 days a week. Very rarely did we get 3 days a week sourcing and, you know, 2 days at the office like we wanted. So it really does take a toll physically, just constantly like being up and about, walking, constantly moving racks. Those bags are freaking heavy. You know, some days we were doing, or some weeks we were doing like 2 to 3 times a week at the bins. I know some people do that every single day. We were not, so it was very tough, but definitely my neck, and then also right here in my hands, like, and Becky actually mentioned this to me a little bit about how resellers get, I don't know if it would be carpal tunnel or what, but like right here in my hands down to my wrist in both sides, and I have never had that. Like, I'm having issues, and I don't know if it's from the phone, like doing comps all the time.
I think it's the hangers.
The hangers?
The hangers. I noticed that if I'm like flipping through too many hangers, my hand will start hurting so bad. It's like the same spot. I've learned to like, I don't know, kind of like creepy finger stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'll do like alternating fingers so that it's not just like me flipping like my hand in the same movement, but yeah, it does hurt after a while.
Yeah.
Or like, this makes me sound so lazy. I'm so sorry. But like dress racks, my God, when you're like this and you're like flipping through the dress racks, like if you have a long dress section, by the time you get done with that, my shoulders are like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? But obviously we know why we're doing it. But sorry, I was mumbling. I don't know why.
Yeah, I would, so to the person that said that, I can't even remember now. I think Taylor.
Yes.
First of all, for anyone listening, if you're a girl, you definitely should look at what type of bag you're carrying all the time. I mean, that made a humongous difference in how I felt. And then secondly, for anybody watching, you do have to make a conscious effort And just kind of like try not to look down so much, like use your eyes a little bit and try not to flip through every single. I mean, we recommend that anyways to be faster at sourcing, but it really does take a toll, and you have to use a conscious effort to not, you know, have that poor posture.
Fanny packs for the win.
Yeah, fanny packs.
Do you increase your prices after using or after doing closet clear out since you dropped them by 10%?
I do not, because so when you do closet clear out and the next time you want to participate in it, you still have to drop 10% your lowest historical price. So in my opinion, if they're sitting there anyways, we only do closet clear out after an item's been there for 90 days. So if it's already sitting, I already know that I want to get rid of it. So I'm probably not going to bump those prices back up. So no, we're not currently doing that. We just leave them after we drop them.
Joyous Vintage LLC says, have you experienced an eBay glitch where eBay kills your listings for no reason? No notification, nothing. It happened to me 5 times before and 8 more times this weekend. Honestly, full transparency, I can tell you that it has happened, but here's how we found out. We did an inventory and realized that it was the very first year I worked with Cayley, and we hadn't done one. And we did it that August, and long story short, we found probably 50 to 60 items that weren't even listed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now we do inventory every probably quarter, if I had to guess, or we try to every quarter. We might notice a handful of things, but it's honestly probably more user error than anything, more than eBay glitching. It's us ending an item and it ended up being the wrong item, or we got items mixed up, or whatever that looks like. So honestly, we don't notice a whole lot of it, especially considering we have 5,000 listings. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have heard though that that's a thing for some people.
Yeah. Most of the time there is a reason. The first thing that came to my mind when you said that, and maybe you've already looked into this, but is it possible that they changed the required item specifics and then you did not go back and fix them before that deadline? Because they do tell you, hey, we've added new required item specifics. If you don't go back and change those by this date, then your listings will be zapped and taken down. So you do want to look into that. And then also returns is really what killed us.
Yes.
So if we got, eBay's kind of changed their automation preferences, I guess I would call it, for that. So they used to if you got a return or a cancellation, they'd automatically relist for you. You had the option to do that. Now it's kind of hit or miss. I don't know if they're going to relist or if they're not going to relist.
Yeah.
So that's where we found a lot of our errors, but most things can be explained by actually, digging into what happened. But I would say if that many of your listings got zapped, I would definitely check the required item specifics. We have heard this. We did not experience this, I don't believe, but a couple weeks ago there were some issues. There was a glitch with eBay drafts, where drafts disappeared, but not stuff that was already listed. So clearly they were doing some stuff in the background. So maybe there was a glitch, but every time we've looked into it, it's been our error.
They were just saying, I just saw the end of it, that those items were a couple hours old. They were very new. Maybe there was something missing with it, or maybe you thought it got set active and eBay said it was set active and then for some reason wasn't. Honestly, I would say that 100% sounds like a glitch of some sort. I would say that's not anything that you did wrong, but
hopefully not a Vero situation.
Yeah.
Those do get zapped and you can't find them again. Stock photos, those are the only reasons I know of that they'll just take them down and you won't see them again.
Charity wants to know, what is the plan in event of a natural disaster or even a break-in where your inventory gets destroyed or stolen? Is your inventory insured? Yes.
Yes.
It is insured.
Yeah, we have commercial insurance. So our everything in the office is insured. It's required of us to lease this property. It was actually very difficult to find a commercial plan that included used inventory. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, it can be very difficult. But yes, we have it all insured. And if you guys have been here for a while, you'll know that I had a house fire a long time ago. Not that long ago, 3 years ago now. 2-3 years ago.
2 years.
2 years
This
ago.
month.
So like I know all about that. So after that, we are definitely making sure everything's insured because anything can happen.
Yes.
So I would.
This isn't wood, but I'm knocking.
So what would we do in that situation? Well, we'd obviously have to file claims and everything, but like as far as like what we would do on a day-to-day basis, what do you think we would do?
As far as like immediately following?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first things, I'm going to come into work and I'm probably going to be the one to find it because I'm here before everybody else every day. So I'm going to walk in and I'm going to be like, beep, 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 all kinds of words I cannot say on YouTube. And then I'm probably going to cry for a minute and then I'm going to call Cayley while she cries. And I'm going to say, we're in trouble. We need to come up with a plan. What are we going to do? And then we'd probably have to evaluate, I guess, how bad things were or whatever. But obviously, we're going to have to call insurance and go through the claim process. And then, I mean, honestly, we'd probably bring our girls in and evaluate what we can do, if there's anything that's salvageable or anything that's not. And then, honestly, probably just hit the ground running. Like, you can't really spend time not doing it. Like, we might need a couple days, maybe take a week. Maybe take a week to really, like, go through stuff, figure out where we're at, come up with a really good game plan. But ultimately, I would probably, if we lost absolutely everything, call in our suppliers and say, hey, this is what happened. We lost everything and we need some inventory. Can you help? And we'd probably go sourcing a bunch and we'd probably all work a bunch and we'd get some listings back up and we'd just start fresh. As sad as it sounds, it would be very sad and very detrimental. But I would also be pretty excited to get rid of all the stuff we haven't been able to sell. So, I mean, you got to find some positivity in it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's
a cool question.
Yeah, that's interesting. I knocked on the table. It's not wood, but I'm praying that does not happen. How long does it take you to list your daily quota? We list, technically, we're going to 40 a day as far as like setting active. But our girls currently do 30 each, so that's 60 a day is what they're actually listing. As far as how long that takes, honestly, I would say probably a whole day for both of them.
Yeah, so we're only setting, so our girls don't work, one of our girls does not work every single day in the office listing, so it's kind of a trick question, but let's just say, for instance, we set active 35 listings a day right now. So if somebody was doing this themselves and they wanted to list 35 active a day, according to our times, how long do you think that would take?
That's what I was going to say. 35 a day? I don't know. I would say that would probably take like 4-ish hours. I think when I figured it up, we were talking about the hiccup, sorry. We were talking about our newest person who does it from home, kicking sourcing out. I think we figured out it should take her like 4 to 4.5 hours to do 35 or do 40 listings, and it's just shy of that. So I'd say probably 4-ish hours. And that's just like draft photo listing process, not the sourcing piece. If you had to source 35 items too, you'd have to evaluate how far you're traveling, and that's a whole other speedball, but yeah, probably half a day.
If you're like super fast, if you were like at the top of your game and the most efficient, I would say you could probably do 12 an hour. So probably what, 2.5 to 3 hours if you were moving at like the fastest, most efficient pace. If you wanted to do that, you could totally get it done in a few hours. Only listing, not everything else, but it's a good question.
The space you're in now, is it a storage unit or something else? How did you procure it, if you don't mind me asking? Go ahead.
So this is a 2,000 square foot, just big room. We call it a warehouse. It's not really a warehouse. It's just an office space, but it's 2,000 square feet completely open. How did we procure it? Well,
it fell in our lap.
Yeah, we were in our older office space. I don't know if you guys have been here for a while. You've probably seen videos of our older office space, and our lease was about to end and they were going to sell the building. So we were told that we could not lease another year, and we were like, oh crap, we've got to find a place in like 2 to 3 months. And so, I mean, I can only say from my perspective, but I just prayed about it and I was like, I need something to come, and like we need to decide what we're going to choose and what's best, because that's a big decision. Like, and if you choose the wrong decision, you're hooked into it for a year and you might hate where you're working for a year. So prayed about it. We kind of just looked around locally. We actually were trying to get another building that we were tracking down. I called my papaw, who knows like everybody in this town that I live in. And I was like, hey, is there any chance you know the person that owns this building? Because it's been sitting empty and I'd really like to have it. And he was like, yeah, actually I do. So we were actually trying to track down another building. And then this one we just saw a sign for. We called and the landlord was like, yeah, we'll give it to you for half price. And
we're having a hard time renting it. We'll give it to you for half price.
And we were like, okay, this must be the sign. This must be it. And so we've been here since. I just renewed the lease and it's been pretty good here, honestly. I mean, obviously any space we would prefer, certain things and, likes and dislikes, but it's been pretty good, especially for the price we got it for. But honestly, the best way we found is just driving around, looking at signs and trying to look maybe like on Facebook Marketplace. Where we live at, everything is dealt with pretty locally, in my opinion. It's more mom and pop. We don't live in like a major city where everything's online. So that's how we found it, but it's probably going to be different for other people.
Have you guys ever seen, I refer to Yellowstone all the time, but have you guys ever seen the Yellowstone episode where Kevin Costner asks Rip how they're gonna get all the Mustangs down off the mountain? And he's like, best I can come up with is F it. Let's just wing it. This is literally our mentality. Well, at least mine for like everything. Kaylee like thinks everything through very thoroughly, and I 90% of the time will be like, she'll be like, are you ready? Do you know what the plan is for today? And I'm like, yeah, F it. Let's see what happens. Like, that's literally what happened with this place. We called around a little bit and it just happens. Like, I'm a firm believer that if you keep the right headspace and just keep working hard, what's meant to be will be, and you can only do so much to make it happen. So I just started using SKUs, my god, help me, SKUs in the private detailed section of Poshmark, and items sold, but the SKU was nowhere to be found. Am I missing a setting, or am I missing the way to see it? I'm assuming the
sometimes it doesn't show depending on, I want to say maybe how long the title is.
I don't know. I was gonna look on Poshmark on the ones we had and see where they were. Stuff we cross post over now does have it listed in there. So like mine just actually says SKU. I don't want to show this because I wonder if I can scroll where.
It's not new, is it?
No. I didn't want to show their name. Essentially it
you
just
click in the order.
Yeah, so like I'm not showing this, sorry, because it's got all these usernames on it and I'm sure they don't want their usernames on YouTube. But if you just go into your sales sheet and like you click on an item, so like one of the items I had was a Nike Seahawk jersey. So I click on that and it'll say, it has a small picture, it has the title, it has the price, it has the size, it has the buyer, and then it says SKU with that on there. I've never had any issues with like putting them on there and them not being there, but to be honest, we have all of our SKUs on eBay, so we don't really pay much attention to Poshmark SKUs, in all honesty. I don't think there's anything else.
I wonder if they're just going to my sales and scrolling through all of them. But
Maybe.
We're having to click into each order detail and we're able to see it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump down on one comment. Somebody said they had an employee that was doing 5 items an hour when they can do 20, so they ended up letting them go. Did you want to touch on that before I did? Here's my thoughts real quick. First of all, people take, like, if you start hiring, you're going to really quickly see that no matter how good of a work ethic somebody has, that they are not going to be as fast as you. And speed comes with time. So like I'm way faster now than I was, a year ago or even a week ago. But it really takes repetition and practice, and you do have to give them time on their own, through their own abilities to get there. But I would never expect somebody that we would hire to immediately be able to do what we can do. it does take time to build up to that. So if you're thinking about hiring, you might want to consider that into your, financial plan. Am I going to be able to sustain if this person can only do a fourth of the work that I can for so many months? And then you also have to have a plan to try and pull them to that goal and get them there.
We ran into that ourselves, and just full transparency, the very first person that we hired as a legit in-person W-2 employee, we thought we knew pretty well. We felt like they could keep pace, things were good, and we honestly hadn't really timed anything. Like, we knew roughly how long stuff would take for us, but we honestly didn't follow up a whole lot with them on it. um After they left, which is a whole other story, but after they left, we were like, okay, we really need to make sure that this next person that we hire has enough time to do everything we'd like them to do. So we really took time to time every single process and figure out exactly how long we expected it to take. We added a little bit of buffer, knowing that it was going to take them longer, especially in the beginning. And then we kind of figured out how much they'd be capable of doing. When that happened, we realized that this original person should have been doing significantly more than what they were doing. Just for comparison, this person came in, they did questions, shipping, put inventory away, which at the time was like 20 to 22 items. They photographed 28 items a day, and we asked if they got that done, if they could start listing 5 items a day, which would just be 5 additional. So 5 additional photos, 5 additional drafts, 5 additional listings. And that never happened. And we were like, well, maybe they're just not getting to it. Maybe it's just crazy, blah, 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 blah. Well, we hired their replacement, and she immediately started with photographing, listing, completing like 25 drafts herself each day, as well as doing inventory questions and shipping. So we were like, oh, well, this person couldn't do 5, but the next person can do X amount. We also just hired another person who's able to do like 30 a day. So just something for you to kind of think out. I would definitely time your processes, add some like leeway time, but you have to be honestly very aware of what's happening, because otherwise sometimes you can be taken advantage of. I would like to think our girls would tell you that we have a pretty open dialogue. If things aren't working, that we will take time to go back and sit down and evaluate, but we also have goals as well for them, and where we'd like to see them get, and we ask for constant improvement on that. So
hiring's tough. You almost have to be okay with like your business coming to a standstill for a little bit until they can get to where they need to be, or until you can determine they're not the right person for the job.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you do have to cut losses. Sometimes you do have to say, hey, I've given you ample time, but this just is not working for us. You can either get with the program or you can't work here. And I think no matter how great you are at trading, there's going to be some people that just aren't going to work out. But I think self-awareness on what you're doing as well as what they're doing or not doing is huge. So I'm going to put Shardy's question and Cottage Keepers together. They want to know about the spreadsheet and how we bring it in the store and use it while you're sourcing. Shardy brought up the good point that she likes to use Google Sheets, which is like basically free Excel, and it has an app. So I was going to tell Cottage Keeper that that's essentially what we do. We have the Sheets apps on our phone, or have Drive on our phone, and we just open up that Google Sheet. And so say for instance, like this is mine, but like I search Arctic cup size whatever, and I decide I'm gonna get it. A lot of times I'll just copy whatever I searched out of the top of eBay, copy and paste it as the title in that spreadsheet. The girls here know that that's not like a set in title. Like they still have to add details or change to get full up to the 80 characters, but it gives them like a start, so they know when they pull this out that it's a pink Arctic, and they know exactly what it is and what the size is to verify that it's correct. We don't carry like a legitimate spreadsheet. It's just an app on our phone that we can copy and paste from. Can you use Google Sheets, or is it just Excel? Yes, we just talked about that.
You can use Excel if you wanted to, if you paid to have Excel on your phone, but Google Sheets is the free version of Excel. There's an app for it. You can share it with other people if you have somebody helping you. So that's kind of the route we went.
I prefer Google Sheets, honestly. There have been some things that we found that had to either be in Excel, or had to be in Google Sheets, but Honestly, I think that was only inventory related stuff, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So, and you wouldn't need that on your phone. I like the app for sure. I think that that's huge. We do steam our items only typically the things that have wrinkles and we feel like needs it to be done professionally.
I gotta move my mom's chat bubble so I can see where we're at. Sorry, Mom.
Our free returns worth it on eBay. They claim it's a better attraction, but I always feel like I could potentially open my store up to wardrobers. That is true. We don't do returns on fancy dresses and stuff like that, but we do free returns for pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
And then evaluate condition.
Yeah. We always say people can force a return anyway, so you might as well get the benefit of offering free returns.
If you find treasure trove of items but it's out of season, do you list it in that season or do you list it right away anyways?
I don't know. We've kind of been shaking things up a little bit. Normally, just in general, whenever we find an item, it gets listed like just in our normal process. But lately, as the season's approaching, for example, we've got spring coming. We just took time and dug through all of our, I'll just call it a death pile for terms everyone can understand, but our death pile of stuff that's not listed yet. We took time and dug through everything and pulled out all of the winter inventory and pushed that ahead of the spring summer items so that they would have the best chance to sell. And then moving forward, we'll only be trying to source spring summer stuff. But in general, we try not to source out of season unless it's like a gem, like I think you said, you know, some treasure that you're finding, but we would probably just list it. We don't really put anything in totes and hold it. But we have been taking time probably once a quarter, I'd say, to kind of just stop and pull everything and make sure it gets listed ahead. But we're not going to not pick up like a Patagonia down jacket, you know, we're still going to list it.
Swimmerization says it could be that this person needed glasses. That's a good shout out too. The person who's having trouble feeling sick when they're flipping through hangers, they might need glasses.
I don't know why, but when you said that, I was like, the person that got fired?
No.
Like, oh.
No.
I was like,
maybe they need those too. Yeah, it could be. Well, people were talking about doing stretches. One person had to have surgery on their shoulder because they tore 4 tendons. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
That makes me hurt just thinking about it.
I'm a volleyball player. I'm afraid I'm going to have to get surgery on my shoulder soon. Little Miss Nat said she has under 10 items in her death pile. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Way to go.
We have the opposite view on death piles. We could never have enough in our death pile because soon it's going to be blown through. Good morning, everyone. We have 240 people watching and only 54 thumbs up. So free way to help our channel, and it only takes a couple seconds, is to give us a thumbs up. I mean, I feel like Nikki deserves some thumbs up after that pie in the face. 2 pies in the face.
Oh my God. Okay, this is probably TMI, but you know, it's me. I literally had to throw my bra away because it was like mangled with whipped cream juice and it stained it and it looked decrepit. So, and my shirt is gone. It's gonzo's.
Deb, I don't know if that said comfy or calmly or what, but she said that we forgot her question.
Ooh. Okay, hold on.
You can maybe, Nikki's going to look for it, but maybe post it again. The chat moves very quickly. We're trying to get through them, but we would be happy to answer. 86 thumbs up. That's what I'm talking about.
Deb, the only thing I'm seeing for you is that you said you've been selling for 22 years and your tips are super helpful. I'm glad that you like our tips. If you're something else, hopefully I come across it, but that's the only thing I've seen from you so far. So it could be that they're like a little bit different order.
She said after that. But
okay, well, let me keep looking.
Yeah, we might not even be to it yet. The chat's so long.
Yeah, I am pretty behind on questions. So we're going to rapid fire through these, and then if I still don't answer it, shout out and I'll make sure that I answer your question today.
We use the cash method for the person that asked.
Oh, sorry. Is your 90-day total off? Mine jumped to like 10K in a week.
Our 90-day has been off on the app, and that's been going on for like 6 months. Like the app will say our 90-day total is one thing, but it's actually like 10 grand higher on the desktop. So I do find that the desktop seems like it's correct. I haven't checked like lately. But yes, between the app and the desktop, I've definitely noticed a difference. But I think eBay is also aware that they're experiencing some issues with that. And it's probably because, I don't know if you guys saw, but they have said that they're going to start including data longer than 90 days, which is something they have not done in the past. And I feel like because they're working on that, that's probably where you're seeing some of the errors go.
Autumn, we do not have a topic for today. We're just answering questions, so we didn't really have a plan for today.
We haven't seen you guys in a couple weeks, so we figured you'd have a lot of questions.
Little Miss Nat wants to know any advice on keeping eBay shipping as low as possible. Some of my 1+ pound packages get expensive quick. 1.3 pounds equals $12 shipping. I've been putting everything shipping wise on there. Like, I've been giving people all the opportunities. If it's first class, I'll put first class. But sometimes I'll still even do like a padded flat rate as an option. If it's priority, I'll do or a USPS priority, but I'll also give them the option for padded if it'll fit. Just to kind of give them some options for what that looks like. Unfortunately, shipping prices did go up, and I think we're all just kind of in the same boat with that.
Something we've mentioned before, but like if we have some larger items like shoes or something, like she said, she'll do the regular priority shipping, and then sometimes we'll add a secondary option of a medium flat rate box, which I think is, I don't know, for the buyer it might be like 15 something, but it still ends up being cheaper sometimes than by weight and distance. So offering that secondary option, if it will fit, is a good plan.
Yes.
Deb's, I think that was her name, sorry, her question came, I think she asked it again. We do not use QuickBooks for accounting purposes. We just have I have my own spreadsheet on Google Sheets that I use because I love Excel, I love spreadsheets. I like creating my own because I like to be able to control what data that I want to see, so I just use my own.
Allison, I love you, but we are not going to give any tax advice because our taxes can be very different than what your taxes are. So I can ask Cayley, do you use QuickBooks self-employed, or have you ever used that to file your taxes?
No. I use I have done this, by the way, from having employees, being a business, even when I was sole proprietor and it was just myself. I have always just maintained my own spreadsheet and used TurboTax. And my opinion is, if you're not very skilled at taxes, or you're not going to take the time to research into all that, because it is a lot, and even as much research as I put in it, sometimes I still make mistakes, I would definitely hire a CPA or use something like QuickBooks, although I will tell you that sometimes QuickBooks messes up, so you never know. I would definitely get a hold of an accountant or a CPA.
I would definitely. So the best tax advice I can give you is go speak to a CPA. Even if you don't end up going with them, they can tell you exactly in your state what to look for, what you should be keeping, what you shouldn't be. And most times a lot of those consultations are pretty cheap. So have we talked about taxes? We just did. A house fire, yes, it burnt down. It was great.
It was not good. I had to take a small break off of YouTube for a while, but learned a lot from that. Things don't matter.
Good morning. When you schedule your listings out, do you pay the 10% fee, or do you go in before they go live and list them? It's actually 10 cents, Natasha. It was a 10-cent fee. In 2 days, that changes and actually goes free. But yes, at one point we were going in before they were going live and listing them manually as a way to cheat the system. But I think eBay caught on and just decided to make it free.
Yeah.
Thankful for that. Saves us some time. Good morning from Florida.
Good morning. 250 people watching.
Autumn says, I tried your method of photographing and listing at the same time, creating a draft bank and getting ahead. I went from only being able to do like 5 an hour to 10 an hour with this method, and she's very excited about it. So
that's
congratulations.
Awesome. Getting ahead is such a game changer. Like, I was not able to wrap my head around that until we did the bins listing system, and we have never gone back. So if you guys can find a way to get ahead, a week ahead, even just a few days ahead, it just takes so much pressure off of you that if something happens, you're gonna be okay because you can catch back up. It's the best.
Girl, I had one good idea. That was it. Ben's idea.
She has a lot of good ideas.
Frida, we're not, I mean, just full transparency, I don't think our lease cost is going to be anything remotely close to what you're looking at. Just like we kind of mentioned, we ended up getting really lucky and getting it for half price, which is just not typical. It is a ridiculously cheap option, but depending on where you're at, where you live, it would be really hard for us to use it as a comparison. So not trying to avoid your question, but just telling you I don't think that it's relevant as to what you're getting or where you might be able to find in your area. I would definitely look around, come up with like a consensus. It's one thing we kind of did when we were looking was what was the average like square foot price for places, so we knew we weren't getting like screwed over essentially. Some of them were very high, like a few dollars a square foot. Some of them weren't. It just depends on your options, but if you're looking for a place, I would look at a couple different options and figure out how many dollars per square foot to make sure that it does seem like it's in line and that it's not like ridiculously expensive.
I think for when I researched just like in general in the United States, it was, and this is probably going to be higher in some places, lower in some places, but it was anywhere like the average was $3 to $5 per square foot. Like, can you imagine? So we have a 2K square foot. Well, yeah, so 3 to 5. I'd be paying $6,000 to $10,000 a month if that were the average. We got a ridiculous deal. Our last office, approximating this square footage, we got that place for about 50 cents per square foot, which is like, it's a crazy deal.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't think it would be fair to compare.
Sorry, reading questions. How many employees do you have? I'm going to just start reading these if you'll answer them.
Okay, we have a total of 3 employees plus myself, plus we have somebody that is about to join our team that is technically an independent contractor right now that just started.
Taylor Exchange says I gave 2 weeks, but I need 10 items an hour. My methods are pretty basic.
I feel like 10 an hour is a good, that's a good average. But again, like, I just know because we've hired a lot of people, like, they're not going to be at 10 an hour right away. They're just not going to be.
Chaos to Calm wants to know your method for paying yourself. Do you choose to pay yourself like an hourly wage? Are you doing it based on salary, or are you just essentially, I think she's trying to think of like profit wise. Yeah.
I do not currently pay myself a set amount. I just take basically whatever is left over after paying bills, employees, all that stuff. I make sure that's good first, and then I pay myself. In the future, because I went and talked to a CPA, in the future, I'm probably going to pick a set number and pay myself like a salary, but right now I'm just taking it out as I need it.
How do you set up automatic cancellations of the order if a buyer does not pay on eBay?
I honestly don't remember where it's at. You can just search eBay, eBay automation preferences. I don't know where that's at. You'd have to go into your settings and play around, but there is a place for like automation preferences where you can do like returns, cancellations, things like that. But they used to automatically relist with cancellations. I don't know if you can do that now.
I think they do again, but okay. I don't think we do that. I think that's just like an eBay set thing.
I have no idea.
I honestly have no idea.
Sorry.
I know we had it set up at one point, and they were automatically relisting, and then at a certain point they stopped relisting and we didn't realize it, and we had to go back and auto relist them. And then like one of the seller updates, it came back out that they were auto relisting again. So yeah. I don't know if that's something you have to like put on or not, but just kind of a thought. 8 photos. Taylor Exchange said this person was doing 8 photos each, and the woman just couldn't cut it. I do need experience hiring, to be honest.
They also, let me just add to this while you're answering. He also just said that's fair. I think he was saying how long basically should they wait? allowing
How
them.
long should I give my next employee to hit the mark of 10 an hour? Mind you, I'll only be listing short sleeve polos. I mean, I feel like if you're doing all the same item, like it should be easier for them to kind of get in the grasp. For us, like we have so many things that vary in items, like it is a little bit more difficult for them to learn. If they're doing pretty much the same item every single time, it should be more cut and dry. I don't know. I'm a firm believer that they probably need, I would say we do probationary periods. So like we would probably say they have like 90 days to really like not necessarily be up to speed but show significant improvement. Sorry. So you think like the first 2 weeks they're getting like acquainted with your business. They're getting used to you. Like they don't know how you are. They don't know how your business is set up. Like kind of adjusting to that. The next 2 weeks, they're really figuring out how you want them to do the job and like figuring out how to ask you questions. And then the next month, they're really like building experience. I would say if you don't see significant improvement within like the first 60 days, then that's a red flag. I would say by the end of 90 days, they should be pretty close to being at the speed on most things. But be open minded. You might want to evaluate your processes too.
That's true.
And maybe tell them like they need to work through things. The other thing to think of is for most people starting out with hiring, I would recommend they start with like a 1099 person rather than a W-2 person, which is per task and not necessarily per hour. So if you know you want this person to list 50 items a week, tell them you want them to list 50 items a week and they can come in and do it when they want to or take as long as they need to. Where if you did an hourly person and they're only doing 5 an hour versus 10 an hour, yes, now they're wasting your time and your money. If you do 1099, ultimately they're wasting their own time and their own money. So
yeah. And like also how often are you checking in for training? Because if you're just showing them once, twice, and then expecting them to just get it, like as an employer, you're also responsible for constantly checking in with them, evaluating the process, evaluating their actions. Maybe they're not getting something right. Maybe it's something very small that if you stepped in, you're like, hey, I see you're doing it this way. This is how we can correct the situation to make things faster. If you're constantly having touch bases with them, they're going to get there a lot faster.
that's true. A lot of check-ins help. Do y'all source estate sales or garage sales? We'd like to do more, but we don't typically know. Do you think it's worth picking up items that need to be washed? I'm constantly debating if it's better to just skip them.
We try to skip them unless it's like a higher dollar item. Like I would say if it's going to be like maybe a $50 and up sale, we might consider if it's a small spot that we know, but in general we're leaving those items behind.
Deb, I successfully did not see your comment come back through. I know we found it towards the end, but I don't know what's going on. So I am so sorry. I promise you we weren't trying to ignore you. If any of you guys are leaving questions and you see that we've skipped it in the chat, let me know because it's not my intentions.
Repost it.
I don't want to do that to anybody. So thank you guys for joining today. I know some of you guys are heading home. We appreciate you for getting on when you could. Free 99. I love free 99 stuff. It makes my heart happy. Can you explain what a stock photo is and can you use them in your listings?
A stock photo is basically the modeled photo that, not even just modeled, sometimes it's just the item, but it's the photo that the manufacturer uses on their website to post that item for sale. That's what a stock photo is. And in my opinion, I don't think that you should use them. I think you should do everything you can to have great photos so that you don't need to use that. Definitely do not put them on eBay because you'll get your listings taken down. On Poshmark, they're a little bit more relaxed with it. I used to say we only use them if absolutely necessary, like if there's like maybe a wrap dress that you just cannot get right, but we don't even do that anymore. We just do not use them. I don't think it's worth the risk. I'm not going to bash or shame anybody that does because like we used to, and I totally get why, because it's just so much easier to show the true color, the true fit of something. But if I had to pick one way or the other, I would say it's probably best just to avoid it.
We talked about the accounting methods, the planning for that. Can you explain your pricing differences between eBay and Poshmark?
Yeah, so on eBay, we do not accept best offers, so we just price it according to market. What we list it for is what we list it for. Whenever we cross post over to Poshmark, you don't have the option of offers or not, so you're automatically going to get offers. So because of that, to counteract that, we add $5 to $10 to each of our items. I think our rule is like anything below $40, we'll add $5. Anything 40 and above, we're adding 10. And then sometimes when we get into like the 75 or 100, we'll start to add a little bit more, but it's just to account for those offers. And that method seems to really work for us.
Tammy wants to know what made you decide to upskill your business from one person to making it like a legitimate business.
I just saw the growth potential because I grew so quickly as an individual. And so I just saw the growth potential if I could hire more people because there's only so much one person can do. And so once I reached that point, I was like, all right, it's time to start hiring. Plus, it's honestly just nice not to be the only one doing it and to have somebody to hold you accountable as well. But there does reach a time where like you can't grow any further without help. And I just saw growth potential.
Jigo wants to know what listing site you guys use. I'm assuming platforms is what you're meaning. We sell mostly on eBay and Poshmark, but we do sell some on Grilled and Depop and Etsy and Mercari and some other random things.
We use List Perfectly. I don't know if they mean we start on eBay first, and then we use List Perfectly to cross post to Posh.
What part of the country do you live in?
We live, what is it called? The Midwest.
Yeah.
I never thought that made any sense.
No.
We're in Ohio.
Yeah, I was always like, yes. We are on the eastern coast-ish. We already talked about eBay, or talked about QuickBooks, we talked about spreadsheets. Do you guys try and fight negative feedback unrelated to returns? I had a mean customer that left terrible feedback, and eBay support will not remove it. It hurts my heart to read.
Sometimes we do. We don't get a lot of that anymore, but whenever that has happened, I have the most success by reaching out to eBay for Business on Facebook Messenger. Those guys seem to be way more receptive to if it's not your fault. And I have gotten feedback removed, but like if it is your fault, there's no really a way to fight that. You just move on, and I wouldn't let it get you down. Our feedback's 99.9% right now. Like it sucks, but we just don't even look at that anymore.
Good morning, sunny Las Vegas. I reached out on your thoughts with the rumors on Posh tracking bots in Canada. Have you heard about that coming to the US? Are they cracking down on bulk relist?
I'll share. Somebody just reached out. I didn't see the username, but I assume it's the same person since you said that it was you. But we don't really participate in a lot of, like, I just don't watch a lot of reseller content. So I don't hear about a lot of the reseller drama because of that. But I did hear from one reseller that I've recently been watching, Tabs McCaffrey. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but she does like news in like reselling basically. And I heard her say that, and that was the only place I'd heard that from, but that's probably because I don't watch a lot of reseller content. But whenever I hear those things, like I'm not calling anyone a liar. I'm just saying that whenever I hear rumors that didn't come from the actual source of like Poshmark or eBay itself, like I just take them with a grain of salt because most of the times those things do not come about. And I really don't think that Poshmark would start cracking down on their biggest sellers. I don't think it would be in their best interest to do that. And I also think it's probably really hard for them to tell what's a bot and what's not anymore because they essentially use a bot with their bulk functions. Like the way that you bulk share and it does that like one by one method and counts down is the same way that like Posture VA does. So I really don't know how they would be able to determine that. Some people are saying that they're able to figure out like there's a certain kind of app based on coding and there's another app that they use. Like, I don't think they're going through all of this time. I think they have bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't think that's true. Maybe I'll be wrong and we'll have to figure out a different method. But for right now, I'm just like letting it go in one ear and out the other.
Do you think extending the 90 days on eBay will change checking sell-through rate?
That's a good question. They didn't necessarily say that in the solds, but it's possible that they do. But I mean, no matter what they expand it to, you're still going to be looking at the same sell-through rate time period for everything. So I think it'll still be helpful. The only thing that might change would be like seasonality. You know what I mean? If they're doing like a whole year, it might be hard to determine that.
Question during closet clear out, do you lower the price of every item that had likers or every item that's 90 days or older, even if it doesn't have any likers?
We lower everything 90 days or older regardless.
The Junction said, love the recent beginning to end life cycle video. One thing I do that might save time is add my inventory sticker on the item during photo process as the last photo when we're doing drafts. I add it to the custom SKU based off pics like you do garments, garment care, weight, etc. So you don't have to go back and add that in as an extra step later. It's kind of interesting.
That's true. We've considered doing that method. I think the only reason that we haven't yet is because things get scheduled so far out. Like right now we're scheduled a little over a week in advance. That means that those items would additionally be in inventory, which means there'd be like, I don't know, it would just take up a whole nother shelf. And so I think that's the reason right now that we're not doing that. But in the future we might consider that.
Stephanie wants to know what happens when a person doesn't pay on eBay. Does it auto go back to available after a certain amount of time? P.S. You guys are great. Thank you.
I don't, again, I'm a little shaky on the eBay automation preferences, but for us right now, if a buyer does not pay, you get a message that an order has been canceled, and it's hit or miss whether it gets relisted or not. So I really can't answer that because eBay's kind of hit or miss with that. You just have to keep an eye when you get that message that something's been canceled due to non-payment, that you do your due diligence to go back and make sure that it got relisted.
That was the same question. Have you guys received tax forms yet from Mercari? I did from Posh and eBay, but not from Mercari. Do you know?
I don't think I've gotten anything from Mercari yet, but we also didn't sell very much on there, so I don't know that I'm going to get one.
Do you have any idea what eBay third-party promoted listings are?
Third-party promoted listings. I would assume that would mean like they're being shown on other sites other than eBay. I don't know much about them. We don't do a whole lot with promoted listings, so I can't answer that.
Dusty old hat. We are in approximately an office that is about the size of 2,000 square feet, if I had to estimate. Are we using the Anchor store? I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna say no.
No, I think we're at premium.
Oh, there you go. See, tells you how much I know. Good morning. Welcome from Montana.
Ooh.
I loved your concept of getting ahead. I need to figure out how to get there. It honestly has been so eye-opening. Like, we were sourced ahead, but we didn't really have a plan. It was just like a death pile. And honestly, getting to the point where like we were working ahead and getting those items actually scheduled and like finished, honestly has been game changing for us. So
how did we get ahead in the beginning? Do you remember what we had to do to get a week ahead?
Literally do like 2-ish weeks of stuff all in 1 week. And like it was a lot to push through, but it was definitely very worthwhile to do so. And we got to the point where we like went to the bins a bunch so we could get sourced ahead, and then we had our normal girls doing things. Well, then we were also doing things as well extra to get ahead, and we just eventually ended up being ahead. We also have, as we mentioned earlier, total the girls will do 60 listings a day when they're both here, plus we have somebody from home. If you think about just that alone, if we were only listing 35 items a day or 40 items a day every single day that they're both here, we're banking additional items, which helps us get ahead. So even if you don't want to do like a bunch, say you're like you want to do 20 a day, that's what you want to list a day. Even if you do 25 a day, each day you're banking 5 additional. So for after 4 days of work, you've done an extra day. That's like an easy way of doing some extra without like killing yourself to do it. It's just picking out a few each day to try to get a little bit ahead.
Super simple process. All you have to do is whether it takes you a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but just make a commitment to spend extra time sourcing and find a way to source an additional. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for the super sticker. Appreciate that.
I love the puppy. It's so cute. Thank you.
But you just got to find a way to get a week's worth of stuff ahead, no matter how long it takes you. Once you have that, you just have to commit to how much are you going to list on a consistent basis, and make sure you're only setting active less than that so that you're always banking something. Easy. Simple.
Joyce Vintage says, I'm happy because I've been able to maintain 3 weeks scheduled listings on eBay. It gives me time to work on my death pile and other things. I'm also not afraid to get sick for a week.
That's awesome.
That is like honestly one of our biggest motivators. Snow, weather changes, any of us get sick. I think last spring this time we like all got a stomach bug, and like I don't even know. I think there was like a solid month where like only one of us was actually working, and we just kept passing back and forth. So it is good to be ahead in case something like that does happen. At what point would you say it would make sense to rent a small space instead of just that isn't just a storage unit?
What do you think?
I would say use absolutely every single space you have in your home, and once you've used all of that and you cannot possibly make room for anything else, then at that point you should rent a space.
Agreed.
If it's financially smart too. Right now we are using List Perfectly, Sierra. That is what we use for cross posting. Joyce Vintage said, space in my area is $16 per square foot. The cheapest.
See?
That is ridiculous. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we would not be able. We're very lucky that we do live in the area that we do. But con to that is we do have to drive really far away to source, which is exhausting. And it's expensive with gas, but we do definitely save a ton of money even with that in the space that we're at.
Dusty old hat, you're right. It is so cheap. Like I said, Ohio in general is like one of the poorest states in the U.S. and therefore a lot of our stuff is pretty cheap. Little Miss Nat, I love you. You crack me up. Do you guys ever withhold anything from refunds if you sell new with tags and they change their mind and send it back after having tried it on, like a restocking fee?
I mean, as long as it comes back in the same condition that it left in, we refund the full amount. But there have been times, especially lately. Oh, man, people are so nice today. Super chat from Sarah. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You gals are the best. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Really appreciate you guys. I don't know what Nikki's doing for lunch, but we could, if she's not doing anything, we'll use it for our next lunch. Maybe tacos. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you ever withhold anything from refunds?
Oh, lately we actually have had some people that have done, like, they'll send back, like, and it smells like smoke lately.
Yeah.
We've been having that. We've had a few of those. So we just do, like a wash fee or however much we think it's worth it to compensate us for having to clean the item again. But if it came back new with tags, unless there were like deodorant marks on it, I'd probably just refund the whole amount.
We include photos of the scale in our listings just so that when we're doing the listing, we know what the exact cost is, or the exact shipping weight, so we can put it in there. It just saves us from like hand writing it down for each item or having to weigh it while we're doing listings. It also helps tell the buyer, like, look, this is indeed calculated shipping. Like, we put it on the scale. If you go to UPS or USPS or wherever, and you try to ship with them, they're going to tell you it's going to be the same price. So I think it kind of helps give us some, like, I don't know, background. Gives us some backup. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. We'll get to it, but someone just said, hi, Cayley. Hi, Elaine.
Oh, my name's Nikki. Hi.
This is Nikki. I'm Cayley Elaine.
Have you been contacted by Vuori with threats about selling on eBay? No.
I have not. I've like heard rumors of that, but again, until it like happens to us or I'm notified by eBay that we should be selling it, like Someone said that, and then I went on the Vero list. I'm like, they're not on the Vero list, so how would anybody know? But maybe we need to check again. Maybe they have been added, but at the last time I heard that, we went and checked, and they were not on there. So we're still selling Vuori. We're not using stock photos though.
Is your Posture VA 10% offers and what amount of time? We do 10% off. I think that's the cheapest you can do on Posture VA.
Yeah, we do 10% off. I think it's 5 minutes after somebody likes an item, it sends them a 10% off offer with the cheapest discount ship, meaning cheapest for me as the seller. I personally think that as soon as you can capture a sale after somebody's interest, that's when I want to. So I choose the shortest amount of time. Some people think kind of opposite of that, where they're like, I want to give them time to shop and think about it. I don't want to give them time to think about it. I want, their piqued interest, they get an offer and they think, oh, I'm going to make this impulse purchase.
Lauren Sertals, I do not personally resell myself. I work for Cayley. I was one of her, I don't know, I'm her manager. I want to say one of our first employees, but that's definitely not the case. But we grew up together, and she asked me to kind of help come in and help grow the business with her. So that's what I'm doing, but I do work for Cayley. I have a pair of vintage Spiegel black leather pants with 198 views and 17 watchers. Honestly,
send offers.
Send offers, but we honestly don't pay much attention to how many people are liking or viewing the items, because I feel like that puts us in a rabbit hole of like getting upset that they haven't sold yet. We just list it and forget about it until it shows up and sold, to be honest.
When we send offers to watchers, I'm doing that in bulk, and I'm just doing a blanket 10% off. So we don't even, we just don't look at that.
We do not use promoted listings on eBay. Good morning, Rosie Ray Reseller. I'm glad that you are here with us live. She said she was with us for like 10 minutes and didn't realize it was live streaming.
Oh.
Do you use Posh Sidekick?
No, we use Posture VA.
I can't move Miss Me jeans to save my life. I live in a place where rodeo reigns supreme. Yeah.
We don't sell much Miss Me either. I can't remember the last time we picked one up. That's the thing, guys. Like, brands, trends, they all dip and go back up sometimes. Like, you just have to really make sure you're always doing comps. You can't just go, I picked this brand up before, or this style before, and it sells. Even sizing changes. Like, I remember when low-rise jeans were like the thing you didn't pick up, and I remember like No Boundaries was the cheapest brand. Well, now Y2K's come back and people are looking for old No Boundary stuff. So, and they're worth more. So, we just got another super chat.
I'll have to find it.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a $4.99.
Thank you for your incredibly helpful content. I have learned so much from your videos. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. We're coming up on an hour and 20 minutes. Are we getting close to the end?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, no more questions. I'm gonna answer these questions, but try not to drop them unless you like really need an answer, because otherwise we're gonna be here all day.
Yeah.
Bot services do you use? We use Posture VA. It's technically the only bot service that we use. It would be nice to us, Old Hat, if we could limit sell-through rate to 30, 60, or 90 days, or essentially any time frame, but they don't let us do that.
Would be cool.
Cottage Keeper brings up a good point that eBay typically does not allow threats. So if the brand is not on the Vero list, you might as well reach out to eBay and let them know that you're getting threats. Even if it ends up being on the Vero list after that, at least then you know what you're doing and you're not gonna have it like randomly pop up and get in trouble. So do you find a lot of Wrangler Q baby jeans? Oh, they're messaging to each other. Sorry, you guys are texting each other, which is great. I love when you guys chat in the chat to each other. It just takes me a second.
I'm not aware of those jeans, are you?
No.
Q baby.
Sorry. We have a lot of conversations. Do you list from the app? I find every time I list from the app, the size is missing and I have to go back and correct it. Y'all, these new eBay update, size kicks out, weight kicks out, only the second ounce digit keeps kicking out. Sometimes the dimensions kick out. Like, I think it's just a known issue. But yeah, I don't think it's just an app thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah.
We sell on the desktop list on the desktop. It's just faster, and there's more options too. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yes.
We will look up the Q Baby jeans because I've never heard of them. I'll look them up after this live because my phone's doing the live right now.
Thank you, Sarah, for your super chat. I missed your name earlier. If most of your store items were in the $50 to $100 price range, how do you think that would affect your sales and turnover time? I mean,
depends on the sell-through rate.
Yeah, sell-through rate has a huge thing, but also I feel like people are a little bit more reluctant about spending higher dollar money. I feel like for me, I'm more likely to spend like $35, $40 on an item. If it gets to $100, like I have to really love it to spend it. So I could see you'll probably be sitting on those items. I think for us, like even if they have a good sell-through rate, I do see that it takes us a little bit longer sometimes to sell higher price items just because I think the buyers want to know 100% that it's what they want. But again, all comes down to sell-through rate.
Thanks for finally making it live. We are gonna head out soon. Oh, we got another super chat. Thank you so much, you two. I appreciate your practical advice. Just ordered a bunch of your recommended shipping supplies from Amazon. Thank you so much for using that link. That helps us out. Thank you for the super chat.
Autumn, our return percentage, I'm not sure. I think when we looked it up last time, it was like 3 to 4%. Like it wasn't super high.
Yeah, it doesn't usually go much above 5%, which I mean, that might sound like a lot to some people, but we are selling a lot of items, so it's actually relatively low.
It is.
Thank you to everyone who was able to get on. I see a lot of people saying that it's their first live.
Oh, welcome. Does it work to just list what you have at home and make sales? Sometimes. It just depends on what you have and what you're listing it for. I think we do sometimes clean out our own closets and bring stuff in. I think for us, like I mark stuff, my own stuff, like pretty cheap just because I know it's not typically like high dollar brands. Now, like as I've obviously started learning what brands are and start picking up better brands, I might go ahead and cost a little bit more for them, but you have to be very reasonable on pricing. But yeah, you could definitely start with your closet. I know a lot of people do.
It's a good way to get started, but probably not to just always do.
Yes. Mercedes, this is a office space, just like an oversized office space that we have split in half between office and desks, or office and inventory.
We have an office tour. If you go back in our videos and search office tour, you'll be able to see kind of how this is set up.
Yes. Would you consider a tutorial on how to send the automatic 10% discount to someone who likes the item? We could do that. We could do it in like a reel. That'd be really quick. Yeah. I don't think it would be a whole video, but we could definitely do a reel on that for you, Lee's Gem World. I would just make sure you're following Cayley on Instagram. It's also Cayley Elaine.
Yep.
So then we can post a reel on that later. Why did you choose clothes to sell? What was your first category that you started in?
I started in clothes, and I chose clothes because it is abundant and you can always find it. And I think for me, clothes just kind of clicked because I knew enough about styles and stuff to get started. Whereas if I would have started with like, I don't know, like home goods, I probably wouldn't have known much of the keywords or anything. But with clothes, definitely started and had to learn a lot of it. But I knew enough that I felt comfortable with it because I wear clothes. So,
yes, that's a good thing you do. It'd be a lot more interesting of a live if you didn't. Mark is talking about he's a pretty large eBay seller, thinking about moving over to other platforms as well. Potentially Posh does. Let's perfectly move them over pretty quickly. We have it down to like 30 seconds per item. You do have to click the like brand and size and color and stuff still, but it's generally a pretty quick process, especially when you know you have the opportunity to additionally sell items. You've done most of the work. If you're thinking about starting other platforms, I am going to tell you, I think that you have made a smart choice that you're on eBay first, because you can pretty much cross post from eBay to anything else and you have like the full extent of details on it. So I definitely think that that is going to save you a lot of time. So
if you're going to cross post, you definitely like don't do it manually. You will save so much time by using a cross-posting tool.
Thank you guys for buying some of our supplies. We appreciate you. I'm glad that you guys have liked them so far. Those do change. So, like, as we decide that we're going to change things with the business or like something doesn't work for us anymore, we will update that. So, even if you buy something and you're like, I don't know, this doesn't work for me, keep an eye on that list because it does change.
Well, Miss Nat said she just sold a short romper. We've been selling some spring summer stuff here lately too. I've been really surprised at how quickly it's been selling.
We could definitely Leo's, sorry, Gems Wendy. She would like you to also put that Instagram video on a YouTube short because she does not have Instagram. So if you could do that.
Okay. I feel like I do have a video showing that, but I can definitely we're talking about the offers to likers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Go like 10%
okay. Yeah.
on eBay.
Yeah.
You guys bring me good luck. Second time here and just got a cha-ching. I love that. I wish there was a way for us to have all the viewers be able to like sound out their cha-chings without it being like a flood of people, but you know what I mean? That'd be great. Is there an easy way to tell the difference between long sleeves and 3/4 sleeve? I'm new to women's clothes. Hold that baby up to your own arm. That's what we do. Dress length, arm length, we hold that baby right up there. Where does it hit your arm? 9 times out of 10, that'll tell you. Do you pass on your eBay shipping discounts? Do you pass your eBay shipping discounts on to buyers? Nope, that's extra money for us. I found cross listing from eBay to Poshmark is so much quicker than vice versa. Yes, a lot faster. Anytime you can start on eBay and move other places, it's 100 times easier. When you buy wholesale, how to make sure you're not selling stolen goods? I mean, I guess technically we don't know. We don't ask for receipts, but
I guess I never thought about that. I mean, there would obviously be like a train of communication if for some reason that happened where we would have evidence to be like, okay, obviously we had no idea. But I'm going, just based on the communications that I've had with the very few wholesalers that we've talked to, I very much trust them. So,
yes. And honestly, with the amount we're getting, like they would have to carry entire like duffel bags into the stores.
They have to be stealing a lot.
Yeah. Like good to them. Dusty would have Mark has been selling since 1998. Nice. He says he is one of the original eBay OGs, original gangsters.
Yeah, you are.
I like that. Mark, I'm gonna date you here. I was 6 years old when you started selling on eBay. I just think that that's always fun.
You know, I think they used to sell, or when you would sell something, I think you used to have to send a check. I thought I heard.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
No. We do not accept offers, Dusty Old Hat, unless it's like something that we feel like we're not exactly sure what we're pricing on. Sometimes we'll price it really high and then accept offers, but we do a lot of research making sure that the prices are what they should be, so we don't accept offers. Otherwise, we just get lowball offers all the time. Posh needs a cha-ching. I'm pretty sure if I remember right from Posh Fest, Posh is coming out with like confetti for sales. Like when you sell an item, it's supposed to eventually be like a feature that it like sprays confetti and makes a sound on your phone. So it's coming. I hope you're excited for the confetti.
My phone's always on silent because I get like annoyed by the cha-chings at thrift stores because everybody looks at you. So I don't even know if I'll hear it. You'll have to let me know if you hear it.
I'll keep you posted. Which platform would you say is better for selling vintage 40s through 70s clothing?
Probably Etsy.
I would say that or Depop even.
I mean, eBay, any platform, if you market it right, can sell it. But yeah, if I had to pick just like one that you're going to specialize in, then I'd say Etsy or Depop.
Kelly Dawn, we start on eBay. We cross post from eBay to List Perfectly, and then we go from List Perfectly to Posh or any other platforms we choose to.
We got to be getting towards the end.
We are.
You guys had a lot of questions today. There were some good ones in there too. Some fun ones.
He says, "Hello, I'm 43. Started first year in college. By end of college, I was a 6-figure seller, so never got to use my degree, but it all worked out okay."
Heck yeah.
Yes, that sounds like me. I went to school and decided I was not cut out to be a teacher, so here I am.
Someone asked, what were they selling back then? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Mark, we're gonna have to do like an entire interview of you of what eBay was like in 1998 because I think we're gonna have a lot of curious people. So hopefully you'll come back next week and you can tell us more about it. Checks and money orders were how we got paid. This is awesome. Best ways to get rid of old inventory. Mark your prices down.
Yes.
Have you had issues with credit cards charged back on large sales saying the buyer doesn't recognize? We have, but we do have eBay protection for that. Most times they just mark that they did it. We don't have any issues. Do you block customers who make you offensively lowball offers? No, we don't.
Counter. It's just free activity for your store. It helps you in the algorithm. See a question about what size Hulkin bags we use. We have 2 extra large and we have 1 large.
Yes. Oh, thanks, Julian. I am so kind of a teacher. Thanks, appreciate you. I went from wanting to teach math and English to teaching reselling in a way. That's why I like working with all of our new hires. So I really appreciate it. Joe says, shout out to your late video that shows the life cycle. That was the bomb. Thanks, Joe. We appreciate you.
That video took so long to make. We started that, in November?
Yeah.
It was hard to keep track of where all the videos were and making sure we filmed the whole process, but Nikki did like all the work for that, so shout out to her. She did that for you guys.
Shout out for always forgetting that I have to hold my phone like this instead of like this. So every time you get a video, oh my gosh, every time you guys get a video that's like up and down randomly with the like black bars, that's because I forget that I have to rotate my camera every freaking time. So I'm so sorry. I will get better. I promise. All right, we're going to stop here. I do have a couple questions. So the spreadsheet, we do not have the spreadsheets available for download.
Sorry.
For you. If you guys literally look at them and you feel like you can't make them, let me know and I'll figure out a price for selling them for you guys. But I honestly, like I said, I feel like I would be offended if I paid something for those because they're so straightforward.
And
so
you would still have to figure out a way to edit them, right? Because you would have to change the dates, the months, like you would still have to figure out a way to duplicate it and edit. So
some people send super low offers to obtain much better prices than what they start at. If you counter, you definitely might come to a resale price. That is true. Do you have a folding and bagging clothes video? I feel like it takes me forever. Tips would be nice. I could do that. I can make that for you. I love folding clothes. It's my favorite thing.
We don't yet. I feel like you have it down to a science, especially jeans.
I love folding clothes, especially like shirts. Polo shirts, like my OCD heart gets so happy. We take both sizes of Hulkins to the bins. We have a large and 2 extra large. I prefer the extra large ones, but we have a large one too. Okay, we are done. This is it. Nobody else.
Okay, an hour and a half, you guys. We did pretty good.
We appreciate you guys getting on today. We have 149 likes. This is your last chance to give us thumbs up. It would make my heart so happy. I do appreciate everybody giving us the super chats.
Yes.
That makes my heart very happy too. We'll get something good for lunch. So
hold on, I gotta answer this. Someone offered me $60 for a 200 pair of boots. WTF, I was not in the mood to counter. Am I petty?
I mean, you might be able to like get to a middle ground, but like if y'all heard the things that come out of my mouth in the background before we counter, I think you would understand. So
you might counter because you never know. We have had people come up.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. So sorry that you just subbed and we're getting off, but you should join us. Just join, don't leave. Yeah, catch the replay. Sorry guys, but we hope to see you next week, if not the week after that.
Yes.
And then we will take into account your suggestions for those videos. Oh, I did want to say, I wanted to clarify. So these bulk offer videos that I'm making, is that for eBay or am I showing the Posher VA?
I think it was eBay. 10% off.
We already have a short for the eBay one. So if that's what you're looking for, go back into my shorts and watch that. If not, we will make one for the Posher VA. All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.